this was a very, very important thing in his life, and there were many ramifications. We'll touch on that tomorrow. But it's been truly an honour.
We'll touch.
You can see why we were in double act in Halifax once or twice. I think we did a couple of lectures a few years ago. But anyway, it's been a real privilege, and you'll see a different side of the way that the police turned on him and some of the strange things that happened in relation to what happened. The hypnosis sessions, it was 4 sessions. The first wasn't, the last 3 were videotaped. And the solicitor who... you said 5. You were 5, right? You told me 4 years ago.
You told me this week 16th of September.
Apples 4 fish and chips. Right, okay. Right, no, so Alan's story is amazing because the interviews, as far as I was aware, 3 were video recorded. Now, nobody gets to see all of the videos, however, whether it was 3 or 4. Now, I was lucky enough to see 3 videos in the home of Manchester solicitor Harry Harris, and he was the guy who asked Alan to do the hypnosis sessions and had arranged with the professors in psychiatry to do that, who hypnotised him. Now, I kicked him out of his living room one Saturday afternoon, and Harry Harris was not one to allow these videos to ever be shown. They've never been shown publicly. You will see the odd little snippet in documentaries that were made, and there's been many documentaries about what happened to Alan. But I was lucky enough to see these videos, and as much as the light-hearted tone, when you saw him under hypnosis, and he did lots of strange little bodily movements, impromptu things. And I remember one thing that stood out for me, he was like the Flintstones. And like when he goes around the corner, he was going to go up to Fernley Estate, and then suddenly something catches his eye. He does this with his feet, like Flintstones stopping the car. And it's like little things like that. And what I concluded after watching those 3 videos, and I was very lucky to be able to see them, was that this guy was really telling a story that was real. He was reliving it, and your non-verbal communication tells you when people are lying, tells you when they're telling the truth. And I came out very privileged to have watched those videos that have never been released, and I always said to people, if he's lying, he deserves an Oscar. He's not lying, and no, don't get too excited. I took it to his house, and he didn't get the award. But what I'm saying is, absolutely real, and as much as the light-hearted tone, and after dinner speaking, it was a very, very traumatic thing and led to a lot of things which we'll maybe discuss tomorrow. Maybe not in that much depth, but we'll discuss. The police were not nice to him after he had his event. Is that a fair comment? Yeah. Right, okay. This is a sign of order.
UFO Truth magazine proudly presents Alan Foster with a special award for outstanding contribution to British ufology. Thank you so much.
Alan Foster. Right, now we're at 20-minute break, and I'm glad Hugh Newman is not going to disappoint me because he...
Okay, I'm Robert Hulse. I'm an abductee, contactee, and I just want to shout out Truth Seekers Northeast.
Thank you.
I'm Ben Emlyn Jones. I'm at UFO Truth Magazine Conference 2019. Please do go to Truth Seekers Northeast.
Thank you. Truth Seekers Northeast.
Okay, shout out to Truth Seekers Northeast.
Thank you, Hugh. Thank you. And here we are in Home Firth at the UFO Truth Magazine event. Truth Seekers Northeast on tour.
Good morning. Truth Seekers. Here we are on Home Firth, Sunday morning, bright and early, just waiting for the doors to open for the second day. Looking forward to it, and we'll catch you when we see you next time.
To greet us is the great Teeny. Oh, are we your favourites?
Well, you're from there. Come on, you've got the camera.
All right, hang on. From the camera. I'll interview Tino.
I'm going to look really sexy for 2 minutes.
Tino. What do you think about Truth Seekers Northeast?
I think it's one of the best groups in the world. Hang on, I'll take that back. The universe. Get to their talks.
That's more like it. And when are you and Gary coming?
When we get invited.
You're invited.
Well, then we'll come.
Yeah.
Set a date with Gary and
I will.
come and.
Do we need a new band?
No, unless you want to set them one.
What about these ones?
You can't have one, but if you give us a cuddle, I might give you
Oh,
one.
go on.
She gets an orange one.
What, eh? Why? Why?
She hugged me.
I'm the favourite.
Why?
What are you doing?
Put it on. Hospital patient.
Released from the mental asylum.
You have no idea what hotel we were in last night.
Oh.
I know that one.
Ashfield. Huddersfield. Absolute
Oh, you're like a 1-star.
Oh my God. No reception.
No.
You have to
No
phone
staff.
them to get your key. And the key's in a safe thing. Absolute shithole. The first one we were
This
in.
is the TripAdvisor review in one
I think it's
with your interview.
The first one we were in 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Spring Grove.
Yeah.
League of Gentlemen.
League of Gentlemen, but loved it.
Yes.
Absolute shithole, but loved it.
That's fine.
And then last year we were in the White Horse, I think.
Hang on, Dave, what was your room like?
His was utter shit.
What can I say?
Your cupboard.
It was a cupboard. It was basically
Hang on a minute.
It was the flower in the
Those bed bugs you've got will have to pay to get in.
I slept on top of the bed. I didn't want to. I had to try and stop them somehow.
The sheets were like that, weren't they? Solid, right?
No towel.
No
Oh,
towel.
you got no towel.
What do you expect?
I had to give him one of our towels.
Hey?
Never again.
You got to read the small print next time.
Yeah.
Bring your own everything.
Hotel Trabago.
And this is the lineup for today. Or for the weekend.
The flies put it off.
So Home Firth, it's just warming up. Hasn't started yet. Coming a hive of activities. We're just having one early morning cup. Newcastle.
Well, with love to the Truth Seekers. Wait, let's stop again. What's it called? I can't.
Truth Seekers Northeast.
I've heard of that. Okay, take. Love to all you guys at Truth Seekers Northeast. Don't believe everything on the internet. Keep on rocking. It's all about the truth, not the internet.
Thank you, Larry.
My Michelle, my Belle. Oh my gosh, what an incredible song. I got one right here. Should I do?
Scan yourself.
You will light up like this. I'm going to do a demonstration up on in my presentation. I'm going to grab some young lady out here in the audience. Some victim is going to come forward, and I'm going to paint her up like an Indian, so to speak. I'm going to paint fluorescence on her, and I'll do a demonstration up here, and you'll be able to see exactly what you'll light up like. You will not miss it. If you just kind of see some kind of a little color, that doesn't mean anything. You'll really be very blunt.
But even now, I think almost like Ghostman, like it's like a sort of almost like a sort of
And I said, just tell me the story. He says, well, they made me hold a little baby in it. I hated it. I don't want to do it. And they said, it's going to die if you don't take care of it. She said, oh, well, I don't know what to do. So I didn't know what to do with all that. And she told me the whole story. And I told my wife, said, you take her in the bathroom and check her from head to toe, everywhere, inside the mouth, everywhere. She had fluorescence on her breast where they made her suckle it, and fluorescence on where it dribbled on her neck and on her hand, in the exact color that we would know that would be there. You like that? Yeah. That was done, put together by a friend of mine here in the UK.
Do you want to use your microphone, dear?
One thing, I don't want this to be too loud. Is this good enough?
Yeah.
Everybody here all right? Very good.
All right, we'll just adjust it.
Okay, they'll adjust it down there. Fine. Okay, metaphorically, I want you to do something. I'll do it physically, but you can do it metaphorically. I want you to change hats. I'll take my hat off. And if you would, I would like for you to take your UFO hat off. UFO hats are fun to wear. We all have them. We all love them. But they have been fooled. They believe all kinds of stuff that sometimes not even correct. So for just an hour and a half, I would like for you to change hats. You can put the UFO hat back on in a minute, but I'd like for you to wear my hat, the cop hat, for just a minute, for an hour and a half. Is that okay with you?
Yeah.
It's a fun hat because you'll get to look at evidence and aliens, I promise you, vastly different than anything you've ever imagined. I've been doing this for over 40 years. I try to keep that quiet because I have to look younger. Our work is philanthropic. Literally, I don't charge any money for the surgeries or do any of the work I do. It's all free. Everything. There is no money off. It will not come off. If it does, do not call me. I don't want to know about it. The more you scrub this stuff, the brighter it gets. You can't get it off. I discovered this in 1992. It's like sweat that he exudes. Some people, this was actually a nurse. A little bit more. I found this on not a nurse, but a doctor, on an MD, in my investigation with her. This was in Phoenix, Arizona. She said, what the blankety blank is that? And I said, that's a procedural technique done by them on purpose. They're never going to tell you what they're doing. They're going to say you're in a school of higher consciousness or some noise like that. Whatever it is, you need to buy into. Also interesting, you can see here. She had the doctor had. Thank you. The doctor said, "Well, it looks like I've got 3 mosquito bites in a perfect triangle." I said, "What if they weren't? What if they were in fact needle holes, and that's where the fluid backed out of the needle from your injections?"
Oh, Dave, so despite sleeping in a cupboard, did you sleep all right?
Not really that well, actually.
kick the brooms and the mops out of the way.
And are you ready for day 2, babe?
Yes, I am. I'm really looking forward to it. Problem is, it'll go quickly and then it'll finish, and I'll think, oh, it's over too soon.
So you're both home tomorrow?
Sorry?
You don't go home till tomorrow?
No, I'm staying there. That's the nice thing is I'm staying here tonight, so hopefully I'll see you guys. Are you staying here tonight?
No, we're leaving at 5.
That's a shame, but I'll hopefully see some people here tonight and stay over. I'm getting the coach, so it basically takes all day to get home. So, I'm just going to settle down and read. That'd be nice.
But isn't it a fantastic venue here? There's Darryl Sims over there.
You can't miss him with that hat.
Oh, I see.
You almost lost that hat last night because we went sky watching.
Oh,
it was very windy.
Oh, you went sky watching?
We went up to the top of, was it Holm Moss? And it's a 1,700 foot high hill. You get a wonderful view though. You can see for 40 miles, and there's lights and everything.
Was it a success?
We saw there was quite low cloud, and there was quite thin cloud, and there was the moon, so we could
no
see the
UFOs.
sky. We saw a few planes, but nothing unusual. But we had fun. We had some fish and chips, and then we tried to eat the chips without getting blown away, and then we came home.
Brilliant.
But it was great fun. A short.
We're looking forward to day 2. I thought yesterday Alan Godfrey was brilliant, wasn't he?
Yes.
And Hugh Newman and Alan Foster, absolutely brilliant, weren't
The
they?
speakers are very, very good. Alan Godfrey's very great. He's a funny he's a likeable chap, very funny. He's been very ill, and he is on the mend, luckily, and he did a really, really good job. He made sort of jokes, even about his own condition, shaking hands and things. He made jokes about it.
I've never laughed so much.
Yeah. He told a few anecdotes of his time in the police. Remind me of a bit of some hospital stories I could tell you actually.
Oh yeah.
It was really amusing. He could have been a great stand-up comic, you know.
Oh, you could have, yeah. And this is the tea area.
Yeah, I'm going to grab myself a cup.
Go on, grab yourself a cup there.
And I'm really looking forward to today. I'll be sad when it's over.
Well, hopefully we'll see you back in Newcastle in the near future.
Anytime. Let me know.
Yeah.
I can do talks on almost any subject. So,
Great. Right. Well, you tell us what you want to talk about.
See you later.
Bye for now. Bye, Larry.
Yesterday, put your hands up if you were not here yesterday. Okay, so not many. Okay, recognize the Spanish lady, Spanish lady, Spanish? Where are you from? Close. It's Europe. It's not far away. You look Spanish. Did Parkinson have a big tail? Yes. He had two, he had a low tail.
No, that was from Birmingham. Funny shape there.
From Birmingham, funny shape there? Yeah. We're all from like that from Birmingham.
Thinks he's a comedian. I'm on his bloody show. What are we called? Frank Skinner.
Frank Skinner.
Brother.
No.
I was on. Are we ready?
Right. Are we ready?
Yes.
Right, we're going to go. Right. Yeah, I'll stay back. Well, I can't, so I'm going to be blinded by the light. Right. Okay, so here we go. Joe, at the back, can you turn that light off by the door? And off we go. Okay. So, for the very last time, am I alright to say that?
You can say it if you want.
Right, well you did say it was. So yes, this is a privilege for me, and I hope that you will realise it's a bit of a privilege for you. This is a different type of interview. We did one with Alan Foster yesterday, and I like to show a different side of the character. Yesterday, Alan, who hadn't given a lecture in perhaps 5 or 6 years.
Well, I found out that I actually did one at a very small one in Blackpool. That was in between operations.
Okay, but what happened yesterday was in a sense his last talk, lecture, whatever you want to call it, talk really, about his experience. Now, for those people that weren't here yesterday, I met Alan around late 2002 when I created my national database, unofficial national database of police officer sightings. And when I went public with that in January 2002, I was already aware of Alan Godfrey's story because it was written down in several books. It was a very famous case. And so I hoped that I could make contact with him because obviously I wanted to research his story, and that's how we met. So within probably late summer, early autumn of 2002, I telephoned him and then arranged to see him. And cut a long story short, for about 18 months, I was seeing him every couple of months, and we'd talk about
Yes.
Yes, and that's a monotone answer there. And we, you can see.
No, promise that I'll be serious.
I'll be serious, right? There we go. Now, and seriously, I went off and investigated, and he would tell me about people who were there at the time. And it's an absolutely brilliant case. And some of the things that perhaps didn't come out yesterday, we can kind of cover. So I will be able to say, when Alan said yesterday that after you went public, the police force of which you were a part weren't exactly good to you, were they?
I thought you said something else then.
No. So tell me about some of the things, in your own words, that the police force, your force was which force? What force?
It was the best in the country, West Yorkshire.
West Yorkshire Police. Okay, we're in West Yorkshire now. So this is actually, you know, very apt that we're doing it now in West Yorkshire.
Yeah, at the time, of course, the Ripper was about, as we all know. And well, I think what happened was, after I had my sighting, like lads do, the morning shift came on, and the local rags used to ring round every morning, ambulance, fire station, police, you know, all that sort of stuff. One of the lads thought it was very funny if he told them about my sighting.
Yep.
Because I'd gone home, you see, I'd gone home at 6.
You'd gone off night shift.
Yeah, and of course I knew nothing about this until I came on again at 10 o'clock. And, you know, called Dr. Spock and all of this.
Okay.
And I thought, oh, you already know. But now then, I have to be fair to them. I'd have been done exactly the same, you know. I mean, you know, I know I'm serious, but, you know, I'm not. But, and on my locker, I think it was the time JR had been shot.
Okay.
And there were all these cartoons and what have you, who killed JR, you know, Irwin, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And they were big on my locker, and it were a little flying saucer with a little alien on, and it just said it were a cartoon, and it said over it, I know who shot JR. And I thought, well, you know. So I just took it as a bit of fun.
Yeah.
I mean, not what I saw, but the attitude.
Way the police officers dealt.
Yeah, that leaders the lads, you know, you work with, you know, and you know, you're a cop, you've been a cop, you know.
Banter.
Is that what it's called?
It's called that. You know that.
Well, I don't speak as posh as you.
Go on.
No, sorry, I'll be serious. And this carried on for a good week. And then, of course, the Tomlin News and Advertiser, which it was at the time, is owned by the Halifax Courier.
Yeah.
And the Halifax Courier is owned by the Yorkshire Evening Post, who was doing a story about Zygmunt Adamski.
Yeah.
And of course my name had cropped up in that tale.
Yeah.
And this reporter on there somehow decided to do a feature.
Yeah.
Never spoke to me, but he decided to do a feature. And what he decided to do, either intentionally or intentionally, whatever it's called.
Probably the latter.
Yes. Did I get them right way around then?
Yeah.
Unintentionally or intentionally?
No, I think he intentionally did.
Oh, definitely. What he did, he kind of made it without actually putting into words that the two incidents had happened within days of each other.
Yeah.
Which made it for a better story for him.
Yeah.
Well, we all know what happened after that. He went public.
Went national.
Oh, gosh. I came home. I remember I think I was on 210 a few weeks ago now. And I was walking down, I didn't live far from Nick, and I was walking in, and there were all these camera people outside, you know, and I thought, oh, we've got the Ripper.
Yeah, some of the majors have.
Well, yeah, well, basically, yeah. And, no, they were after me. And all right.
So how did you get into the police station? Did anybody recognise you outside?
Yes.
And
So
what happened?
I bloody run. I went right back and got into the kitchen.
So you avoided the press?
Oh, crash, yeah.
And then you went inside and said what? When you went inside?
I can't remember the exact words, obviously, but what's going on? I think. Or was it? I think I swore.
Yeah, I'm sure you did.
What's going on? And the lad said, oh, they've been on bloody phones never stopped.
This is the national press.
This was national press and television.
Yeah.
I think Granada television were there, Yorkshire television were there. They'd set up on our car park. Well, across the road from the police station was the flats where the single officers used to have. And in front of there was a car park. And the cameras set up there.
Yep.
Needless to say, I never left the police station that day. And they got no joy out of it. Well, I don't think they did anyway. I think maybe our divisional head might have spoke to them, I don't know.
So on that day, did you actually get to see the newspaper report that had led to this?
No.
So you found that out later?
Yeah, because I don't read very well, as you well know.
Yeah, okay.
I don't, I know it sounds stupid when you've written a book, but I have this thing in my brain that if I read anything, by the time I got to the bottom of the page, I forgot what I've read. But if I hear anything, I remember it forever. I know it sounds stupid. I used to pass my police exams and I used to listen to lectures, record them, and then I'd record them when I got home, back to the billet, and I'd read them all out into my dictaphone, and then after I read them all out, I'd answer them, what the questions are, and what like the definition of theft is, and burglary is, and what an arrestable offence is, and I put on my dictaphone, and then I plug my dictaphone ears, and I'd listen to myself on there all this, and I remembered what I'd said, but I can't read something for a couple of pages maximum.
Right, okay.
And of course I can read my book because I wrote it down.
So
I know what I put.
So what I was going to say is, so from the point that the national press get involved, that's a while after the initial story had been in the local top-end paper.
Yes, I think they got involved. I'm just trying to think. Prior to that, before the actual managed to get hold of me and do I think it was Sunday Mirror.
Yeah.
A lot of things happened in between that as you know, because I've spoken before, I was called in to see one of my bosses. No, I don't mention names.
Okay.
No, oh God, no. I mean, most of them are dead anyway. But
yeah. Okay.
Certainly.
You were called in to see?
Yeah, called in to see the inspector.
Yeah.
And this is when the man from the ministry was in the same room. But this was after the Professor Zakharov. I got a letter off from Moscow University.
It was Valery Sakharov.
That's his first name.
Yeah,
Because I didn't know whether a male or a female. No, I still don't.
Yeah, I think Valery is a male name, but I guess it could be.
Well, I don't know. I know Jenny got the letter. Anyway, I got this letter off him.
So this letter came from where?
Moscow, just said.
Yeah, okay. I'm listening. Just clarifying for you.
Moscow is in Russia.
During the height of the Cold War.
It was the Cold War, yeah. You know, there were all this bother with whoever were in charge in them days. And in this letter, he said he was it had his address on it, you know, Moscow Union. And it was in longhand, it weren't print, you know, it weren't typed out, it was in longhand. It was very interesting about my case, basically, and if I had any information, would I pass it on to him, you know, he was doing, I don't know, like you do.
Research?
Well, if you like to call it that. Sorry, I'm not being funny. Sorry, I'm not trying to be funny. No, you'll get me in wrong mood. I'll end up doing another after dinner job. Right. And we're doing research. And in that letter, he said, you know, did I know, was you aware, or did I know, I can't remember the exact words, because I don't read very well, I've just told you. He mentioned, did I know anything about this sighting in Suffolk? I didn't even know where Suffolk were.
Yeah.
So I knew nothing. And he said it was over American Air Force or something, wasn't it, mate?
RAF Brentwater.
RAF, that were it, RAF Brentwaters, and well, he didn't put Woodbridge in it.
Okay, so RAF Brentwater.
You jumped the gun here.
Okay.
He just spoke, as I remember, an RAF base in Suffolk.
Yeah.
I don't think he mentioned the Americans, to be honest. I can't remember now.
Okay.
But anyway, there you go, it's in the book.
So what was in essence, how long after your incident did you receive this letter, roughly?
It hadn't gone in national press then.
Okay.
My story hadn't been in the nationals then, so it was somewhere between my sighting and maybe after the Yorkshire Post printing. I can't remember the exact date.
I think in your book it says September of 1981, would that be about right?
No, that's when it went in the papers.
Right, okay.
That was the news of the,
the National
Sunday
Press.
Mirror.
Yeah. So it's in between.
It would be in between, yeah. It hadn't been in,
so your sighting's November the 28th, 1980, 4 weeks before what we now know as the...
Well, if that's what the guy was on about, unless there was another sighting down there, I don't know. But obviously I've been around now. I'm guessing he was talking about Rendlesham.
And you had absolutely no knowledge...
The first I heard about Rendlesham was, it was in News at World.
Yeah,
long
October
after
1983.
Well, there you go. Mine went in 81.
Yeah.
So the first I remembered or put two and two together, call it what you like, would been when it came in papers.
Now, let's put this into context for a lot of younger people in the audience. When we talk about the Cold War and Russia, for you in 1981 to get a letter from Moscow in the what was it classed as the Soviet Union, the enemy, as it were, the big enemy, was unusual to say the least.
Well, yeah.
So what did you do when you got this letter? What did you do with the letter?
I gave it in. I handed it in to me, immediately me sergeant, who handed it in to the inspector, and it went down to Wakefield, presumably, I don't know.
And you never saw it again?
No. But I was asked to write back.
Right, tell me.
That was, again, if I get it wrong, it's my fault, because I wrote the book and I might have got mixed up since then.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure it was not long after I handed the letter in, and I think it was about that time before he came from the ministry job. I was asked to write back to him and talk about my sighting.
Yeah.
In other words, get friendly with him.
Okay.
Right. And any more letters that would come back, I'd hand them in.
Yeah.
But I didn't. I kept them. Because I was getting a bit airy-fairy, you know what I mean.
So did you receive more letters?
Yes, I got, I'm pretty sure it were 2, maybe 3, and I handed them over to Harry.
Who was Harry?
My solicitor.
Right, okay. So,
Harry Harris.
Yeah, so you handed him over to
Yeah,
your
and he'd already received, well, he told me he'd received one, and I know Jenny Randalls had received letters from this guy.
You didn't hand them in through the police channel?
Oh, no. But you see, by this time, they were causing me all sorts of little niggly bits of bother.
Well, that nicely segues into what we're going to talk about now, which is, at what point in your police service did the attitude of the West Yorkshire police, your bosses, change towards you? When did it begin to change?
Well, it was after the sighting, obviously. I've been in job then 5 years.
So, even after it had appeared in the local Todmorden paper, were you...
There was no, the only time is when it became national.
Yeah,
so it would be
so later
81.
81.
It would be September 81. When it, but I'll tell you what happened there. Prior to that, this is how I know that those letters came before the nationals.
Yeah.
See, you've reminded me. Is it good?
That's why we're doing
You're
it.
good, yeah. You don't have to thank me.
Go on.
The man from the ministry came to see me about what were going on.
Yeah.
He had with him, he had a file with him. Now I know I'd only sent 2 bloody things, and I sent a drawing a mistake, well, I say a statement, it was a minute sheet.
Minute sheet.
You're a cop,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
You know.
minute sheet, yeah.
For those that aren't, a minute sheet is an internal letter.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yep, absolutely, as it was. Yeah.
What they call the hour sheet now, isn't it?
The paperwork's changed tremendously.
Yeah. Anyway, so I know my report was one
One piece of paper and one drawing.
Oh yeah, well, so there were two pieces of paper.
Yeah. Yeah.
He had with him a file around. It wasn't that, you know, it was.
But it was more than 2 pages.
Well, you know, I'm right now nosy I am.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, he was, as I walked into the inspector's office, his desk is there, I weren't expecting this guy to be sat there, and you know I can be very abrupt, can't I? I mean,
I have noticed that.
I well known it. I wanted to know who he was.
Why not?
I mean, I'm going interviewed by an inspector, I wanted to know who this guy was, that's because they were in civvies.
Yeah.
And I said something like, I looked at him and I said, who's that? Because I didn't know him from Adam.
Yeah.
And he just said, all you need to know is, I'm the man from the ministry. Like I said yesterday, you know, I didn't know which religion he were talking about. But it was at that time that he kind of tried to talk me, take the mickey if you like, whatever you waited for him, that he made me sign this, which I now know wasn't the official secret site, but you know, when you join the police, you sign the official secret site.
Yeah, everybody's got to do it.
Everybody's
join
got to do it.
the
Yeah. Well, what he did, he mentioned my inspector, not him. Right, we've been talking, and you know, you sign the official secret site when you join the job, PC offering, and under that act, I'm hereby ordering you, and he gave me a minute sheet.
Right.
Not to speak to any members of the press, television, all these long words.
Yeah.
And at that time, we had a club going, the Tomlin UFO club as it was then, and it was all right, a couple of pints and a good gin wag, and it was all right. And I had to stop doing that.
Yeah.
And I had to sign this minute sheet and give him back. Now remember, just remember what it said on there. I have to talk about my experience, or specifically Zygmunt Adamski. Now, that made me ears prick up, as it would, you know. I thought, well, not long after that, I get a phone call at home, from our divisional head, from Halifax. Well, actually, it was his deputy. It was Coddington, he was called, Chief Superintendent Coddington.
Yep.
Asking me, he'd been requested from Baxter, I can't think of his first name, but he run the press office at Wakefield. Can't remember his first name. But we had a request from the Sunday Mirror to do an interview. So they were going through the proper channels. So I said to Coddington, I was on the phone, I'm sorry sir, are you aware of this blanket that, you know, this thing I've been told to sign and all? Oh yes, he said, I've had a word with Bob Baxter. I've had a word with Bob Baxter at the press office and yeah, you got permission to do it. I said, well, I don't want to do it. You know, why would I want to go and have my name all spread in Sunday bloody Mirror?
Yeah.
I didn't want to do it, so I said, well, just tell him no thank you, you know. Put the phone down. Shortly after, not long after, he rang me back. He said he'd had a word with boss and one thing, you know. So I agreed to do it. Cutting a long story short, I said, well, okay, I'll do it. But I want with me a senior officer, either sergeant or above.
Yeah.
I don't want to be doing an interview.
Not being represented by somebody.
Exactly. Either get me somebody from Police Federation because of this thing I'd signed. Yes, oh yeah, we'll send a sergeant or blah, blah, blah. So this date was arranged. I can't remember if it was the following day or the day, to be honest. Anyway, this John Sheedy were called, I think he was chief reporter at Sunday Mirror at the time. And he'd been doing the Adamski thing, big spread, which I was totally unaware of. I didn't get the Sunday Mirror, so I had no idea what was going on. And he rang me up at home. He'd been giving me a number. I must have given permission for him to ring me up, making this arrangements. And I said, yeah, fine, you know, you come up. is it all right if I bring a photographer with me? I said, yeah, no worries. So he came to our house where I was living at the time, and before we even started the interview, did he? I think he was recording it, I'm not 100% sure now. And he was shorthand, wherever it is. I told him straight from the beginning, I said, I'll talk about my encounter, but I'm not allowed to talk about Zygmunt Adamski. Yes, yeah, no worries and all that sort of thing. Anyway, again, cut a long story short, the following Sunday, we used to, they didn't have paper shops weren't on Sundays. They used to get a van used to come round and they drop papers off, and the folks actually got paid for doing it, didn't they? They'd sell newspapers under arch and all that sort of stuff. And I went up to get one from the railway arch up Samsfield Road. No, sorry, Victoria Road. And bloody hell, I'm front page. The alien terror of PC Godfrey or something like that. It said, oh, Jesus Christ. And I opens, and it said, there was a bit of a spiel, and it said, see centre page. No, I'm not a do for it. Oh, God. Well, they'd seen the tapes of the hypnosis, which I didn't know.
Right.
I didn't know. And you can remember who I rang up after that.
Harry Harris.
Yeah. And he didn't know. I said, well, how did he get hold of it? Somebody's made a copy.
How did they get access to the tape?
Well, I think it was called Norman Collison.
All right, Chief Inspector at the time?
At Fraud Squad, yeah.
Yeah.
Who disappeared.
Okay.
I say disappeared, he weren't shot or anything, they taken out to. He disappeared from the scene.
The scene.
He became unavailable. He made superintendent, you see, and he come unavailable, and he didn't work in Manchester after somebody come. Anyway, I'm convinced it was him that had done it. I think he got a bit of that.
So the Sunday Mirror basically got access to the three...
Well, they obviously at least one.
At least one of the three video recording sessions of your hypnosis.
Yeah.
And so, what was in this big article in the centre page?
Well, it was about the hypnosis.
Right, okay.
They actually did it virtually word for bloody word. I mean, there was some missing, but basically, they made me look a right prat, which I wasn't happy with.
I bet you were.
And my bosses weren't happy.
Yeah.
In fact, the Monday, or the Sunday night, the same night, or it was within a day anyway, I had to report to Chief's office at Wakefield.
Yeah.
I was reminded of this letter, this bloody minute sheet was going to come back to haunt me, so I thought. And I was a bit worried, obviously. I was thinking, God, I'm going to get transferred here to bloody Timbuk, bloody 2.
Yeah.
Spending a life walking between two lampposts or something, that's bloody stupid. I was really, I'm only human, I did get, I was frightened, yeah. I had a mortgage, I had 3 kids at the time, and my wife then had her own business, she was an hairdresser. My middle son was in a wheelchair, and I thought, this is, bloody hell, Anyway, I no need to worry because, yes, they did try to transfer me to Wakefield.
Yeah.
And I just said to him, well, I think a Sunday Mirror would do even better story on this, don't you? He said, what do you mean? I said, well, I'll get John Shear to bring a photographer over and I'll have me sat in this bare room with a candle lit or something, saying this is what they did to me for talking to you lot.
in a story that you encouraged me to do?
Yeah, well, you see, I told him that. I said, well, let's be honest, I said, I don't broke that rule. Your inferiors, whatever you want to call them, your underlings at bloody Halifax have planned this together to discredit me or to get me sacked, whatever. He weren't happy, he didn't know about that. It weren't the chief, it was the drug fella, what do you call him?
Oh, the drug czar.
Halliwell.
Yeah.
Keith Halliwell, yeah.
He was quite a well-known figure on national TV.
Yes, he was a gentleman, actually. Believe you me, he was a gentleman. In fact, he's the one that speaks to me in the book.
Yeah.
I don't know why sleeping dogs lie.
Yeah, with that line that he never was happy with. What did he mean?
Right there, yeah.
But let's now talk about, after it hits the national headlines,
No, it's turmoil, absolute turmoil.
Well, what do you mean by turmoil? Give the audience a kind of...
Well, I think the guys in Halifax, the bosses I'm talking about, not the lads on the bit,
Yeah.
they got a right bollocking. What, call it what you like, off the chief. You know, I think they were all over the calls about this minute sheet and all. I think that's what probably... And then they said about, well, we'll have him. And you know what it was like, back in the 80s, your sergeant were God, never mind an inspector.
Absolutely.
You know, they're none of this. Oof.
And if a big organisation wants to make a problem for you...
Oh, goodness, yeah.
Tell me some of the things that they did. Or do you want to prompt maybe one or two that I was thinking?
No, it's all right, I don't need prompting.
I know you.
Because I remember what really happened.
Yeah, well,
There were some little things,
yeah.
niggly things,
Yeah.
which, you know, I just put down to childish behaviour and all that sort of stuff. The main thing, I'm just trying to get them in alphabetical order in my head.
Yeah.
The main thing, sorry, not alphabetical, numeric, what's it called?
Chronological.
Oh, you're good. You're a detective, you see. Anyway, I think the first incident was when Jack Browley, PC Browley, who was, and he still comes to my house now. He's a like blood brothers, you know. He'd do anything for me then, and I'd do anything for him. Don't you worry about that.
Yeah.
Well, that's what we did in Policing.
Absolutely.
You know, you never rat on him. You didn't. Anyway, I was off duty. I've been on doing some obs, plainclothes obs, you know.
Observations, just staking a place out.
No, actually, we're in the park, and we were like a flasher.
You were trying to catch them.
Yes, yeah. Sorry, I know a bit.
Just explain, most people won't know what obs means, you see.
Well, I thought. Did you know what obs meant?
Yeah.
I thought you would.
What do I know? Carry on.
You want me to answer that, seriously?
Carry on.
Right, hang on. Yeah. The first thing was, as I was thinking, there were little niggly things before that. When Jack Riley come to, I'd just been off duty, as I said, I was doing obs.
Yeah.
And I didn't catch the flasher, by the way. He said, I've got to take you to Wakefield for your medical. Now, bearing in mind that I'd had these injuries, you know, in 1977, the first lot of them, and I had to go and have periodic 12-monthly medicals to make sure I was still, you know, all right, which I think they do with policing to this day, don't they, with energy. And I never thought much about it. I said, all right, jumped in. And he says, because we get to Wakefield, Stanley Royd Hospital.
What kind of hospital is Stanley?
Somewhere else. I said, what did that say on sign there? Stanley Royd Hospital, psychiatric hospital. I said, are we at the right place? He said, oh, that's what it says, isn't it? Anyway, he goes in, pulls it. I said, Jack, we've been friends for donkey's years. We've been through thick and thin together. You do not leave my side.
Yeah.
He's in uniform. I'm in civvies.
So,
because I was off duty.
So what were you feeling when you realised you were to a psychiatric hospital?
I thought it was a mistake.
Right.
I thought he brought me to the wrong hospital. But anyway, we goes into reception, and this receptionist was talking to Jack as though I weren't there. Oh, it's Mr. Godfrey, right? Could you just bring him through here? And, you know, he thinks I'm under arrest. I said, I am a policeman, you know. And anyway, we went into this little room, and we sat there waiting to go and see whoever these doctors. You see, I thought, oh, can't be, you know, anyhow. It'll be my, you know, just a medical. Well, come in with me, you know.
Yeah.
And she came out, a woman came out of the room and said to Jack, will you bring Alan into here, please? Or words to that effect.
Yeah.
I thought, I'm getting pissed off with this. And we gets in, and there were a table, two psychiatrists, who turned out to be psychiatrists.
Yeah.
a lady over here taking notes, and there was somebody over here, I can't just remember who that was, but there were only the one seat.
Yep.
So I glanced at Jack, he knew, because I always said to him, if you're going in front of boss, and there's no seat in front, don't stand there like a broom, grab near his seat and sit down.
Yep.
Because they tried to make, you know, you don't stand. Anyway, so I looked round at Jack and he went, just hang on a minute, I need a seat. And they were going, oh. Anyway, he brought the seat in. And he sat there, he never said a lot. And he started talking about my hallucinations, and I've been having hallucinations, and I've been ill, and all this sort of stuff. They rambled on, they want to know a bit about my childhood. I said, hang on, you know. I said, where's all this coming from? What I've come for a physical, medical. I told him about my injuries. I won't repeat it all again, but I told him about my injuries. What am I doing here? He said, well, the Chief Constable has asked us to, and he said, the Chief Constable has asked us to examine you. You know, he thinks you've been hallucinating and this. I said, hang about. Now, this was maybe 2 years after the actual encounter, you know.
Yep.
I said, hang about. Is this about the UFO? Yeah. Jack stood up. He said, I've heard enough of this. He said, I've seen one and all. He said, half a bloody police in Calder Valley's seen them. He said, so, you know, what's going on? Because now, remember, he's in uniform.
Yeah.
I said, look, I was working yesterday. I was on ops yesterday. I said, I'll be working too. You're actually working? I said, yes. You're not off sick? I said, no. I said, the incident you were on about was in 1980.
Yeah.
What? Oh, they were a bit pissed off.
So basically, they had been given a bump story about why
they didn't tell me what the story was, but this
wasn't quite right.
Yeah, but anyway, cut a long story short, we gets up to leave. Now this really, and it isn't meant to be funny or anything, one of these psychiatrists calls us and said, I'm very, very sorry. He said, we've been led up, we got blah, blah, blah. He says, but I was going home a couple of weeks ago over at Moors. He said, I live in wherever it were. He said, and this bloody object in a field. And I says to him, what did you do about it? Did you ring police? He says, no. I said, well, what do you think it was? And he said, well, I don't know. I said, there you are. I said, you want to get yourself booked in here? You know, that's what basically, it's in the book, is that?
So basically, in a slightly underhand way,
they tried to get me certified. I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
It's
So
not going.
But I mean, that can you imagine in Alan's position, suddenly being faced with what was a routine, he thought, medical, and then suddenly he's been up for a psychiatric evaluation. And how fortunate you were that Jack came in with you. And
I wouldn't have gone in.
Yeah.
I want. If Jack hadn't come for me, I think I'd have asked more questions. You see, it was only because Jack come to pick me up that I weren't really bothered, you know.
Yeah.
Had it been a Bobby who I didn't know,
Yeah.
I'd have asked him, well, what's all this about? I want to trust them. Because that's how they started to make me. They made me, I didn't trust anybody.
Yeah.
I only trusted those. I trusted if you're all coming from.
Yeah.
Even though the rest of the boys' PCs, we're still speaking, you know. It's like 2 years has gone by. But I wouldn't have trusted. I wouldn't have gone into a fight, which, you know, into a pub talk.
Yeah.
Unless somebody were Jack or Malcolm.
Because you could trust them.
Yeah.
They've got your back.
Yeah, I mean, probably John Allen and Spot the Dog.
Yeah.
For those that weren't here yesterday, Spot the Dog is called Paul Richardson. He's a police officer. We called him Spot the Dog because he used to go around checking dog collars to see whether they were licensed or not when he were a probationary constable.
So
just thought I'd let you know.
So but that didn't stop there. These underhand tactics.
No.
So what other things?
Oh God. Well, we'll get into more serious things after, but they come and check where I was on patrol, because they give me that bloody push bag. And let me sit up and beg push, because I was moved up Walsden. I became the village bobby at Walsden, or the community constable as they call them nowadays. But village bobby, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And this bike arrived at Todd Nick. You know, real sit up and beg, 3 speeds. I thought, and this inspector says, I could say his name now because he's died, Farrington. Now then, BC Godfrey, that's yours. You will ride up and down. Now, I know police officers ride bikes today, but they're usually them classy bike, and they have all the crash helmet things on. We didn't back then. He expected me to ride this bloody bike with my top hat, you know, helmet on and full, because we wore proper uniforms then, didn't we? And I just says to him, well, I'll tell you what it is. You get on it, you ride down Todd on it, in full uniform, round to it and come back on market day, and if you'll do it, I'll do it. He said, you don't talk to me like that. I said, you shouldn't order anybody to do something you're not prepared to do it yourself. He nearly put me on a charge, but I think he thought, oh, better just stay a bit clear. I think it was after Midi, that. I think it was after young Midi probation. Well, that's another story, that, which is in the book. Do you notice how I'm plugging my book? I noticed. Yeah. Anyway, go on, remind me.
Locker, your locker.
What about it?
Contraband.
No, mate, we're not going near that yet.
Oh, all right, okay. Well, you wouldn't want to.
You know what are we talking about then? Oh, the bike, the push bike. Yeah.
Well, that's the bike.
That's what I'm asking you. You said you...
All right, yeah, I thought you were saying go on.
No, you said you'd remind me where I got to in case I...
All right, I'm with you.
I'm not being funny, but I do get, you know, because of brain ops.
So we're back to the bike.
Right. And I wouldn't ride it. I said, I'll push it, but I'm not going to ride it. So he used to push his bike up Walsden, which is it's only a couple of miles up the road. I was a young lad then. And my brother lived up there. I was Stuart, one of the twins. And I was living in his backyard. And then I walked round pubs. There were some good pubs up Walsden. Oh, Cross Keys.
Stop the bike.
I'm doing that. I'm talking about that. I used to call in the pubs, in each pub, when I were on evenings or nights, you know.
You were working?
Oh, definitely, I was in uniform. And you could call in, and I'd have a wee dram in Cross Keys, which became my local when I moved to Walsall, when I was living in Walsall. A dram, especially on winters and heat. And chin wag to everybody, you know, make sure the lads, everything were all right. And there used to be a little gang of lads outside. I think they were still at school, but they were like 14, 15, possibly a bit older. Stan, I remember Stan and the 2 brothers. Anyway, they saw me biking, I was Stuart's yard, they decided to go and have a ride on it. And so they come to go into the pub and said, do you know what bloody blah blah blah, it's right nearby. I said, oh, it's right, I'll bring you back. I said, but if they don't bring you back, it's no skin off my bloody nose. You know, I've lost it. And there's a very funny, anyway, and I go in the rest of the pubs, you know.
Yeah.
But they always wanted to check up on me. Now, when they used to ask me where I was, I used to say I'm patrolling down Canal Bank. Because it used to be dark, you see. You know,
You couldn't see it.
well, obviously. And it was an ideal place, no matter where I was. I was on Canal Bank. I mean, the Canal Bank run all the way through Walsall. It didn't matter where I post stop, it's up at Wagon. I'm on Canal Bank. And they'd say, well, whereabouts on Canal Bank? I says, next to Canal, where do you think it is? Again, I'm not trying to be funny. But that's what I said, yeah. And that's how it was.
So in effect, they were trying to...
They were trying to get me on a charge, or whatever you want to call it nowadays. I don't know.
And you felt uncomfortable?
I'm very uncomfortable, yeah. It became more and more naughty. And the next thing, I got called in, and they were transferring me, and this time they meant it. And they sent me to Halifax. I'd just come off holiday, and they said, don't bother this with this Harrington fella. Don't bother, going in your locker. Don't go bother looking in your, you used to put all your files and stuff in your own little letterbox thing.
Yeah, little cubbyhole, yeah.
Yeah. We've emptied it for you. There's nothing personal in there. It usually warrants, summonses, whatever. Yeah. And you're off to Halifax. No, I hadn't a car in them days. Couldn't afford one in them days. And I said, well, how am I going to get there for early? He said, there's a bus. And I think first bus would probably get me there. I think it was 5:10 or 5:30, something like that. Yeah. And that's it. I had to pack all my gear up, and off I went to Halifax. I remember when I got there, what a change. What a complete change. Bigger Nick, friendly bobbies, nobody with an axe to grind. And the inspector, we got really good friends after. We were right at the beginning. They were called, come back to me. We had to parade there. I mean, we used to parade at top, but you kind of sat on chairs and, this is what's happened. But they'd actually stand in a line with your truncheon out. And I'm not being rude. And he whistled. And then he'd read out, the inspector come on parade, and he'd read out, he'd see you were in, that you're all on duty, and then he'd read out what had happened during that, whatever. And then there was a road to where your beats, and I said, it's no good putting me on a beat, I'll get bloody lost. And he says to me, he looked at me like that, and he says, you see that at the top of your lip? Moustache, you see. I used to have one of those 80s bloody porn star moustaches. And he says, top lip. Four standing orders says, you won't have a moustache, top of your lip. None of this down inside of your mouth. Shave it off for tomorrow. Pissed off, I've had this since I was born. So that day I was out on beat with one of the lads because I didn't know where anything was, on foot patrol. I got home and I thought, what am I going to do about this? And I thought, I'll read it. So I goes on again at night, goes in and says, he says, I told you, I ordered you yesterday to have your this moustache done. Four standing orders says, I said, yes, sir. I said, I've just read them. I said, I'm growing a beard. It's true. He says, growing a beard? I said, yes, I'm allowed to, before standing orders. He says, you're not walking around my bloody, my patch, scruffy with a half. I'm going to put you down the cells. You could be jailer. You won't like it down there. I thought, I bloody would. I was a prison officer for 2 bloody years at Wandsworth Prison in London. I were over in my element. I had my own office, kitchen, everything.
So when they suddenly transferred you to Halifax, were you happy to go to Halifax? No explanation given or anything?
I was upset at the time. I can't pretend. I mean, we talked a long time ago. I can't pretend that I was under a lot of stress. Yeah, definitely. I thought.
Did they give you an explanation as to why you were being transferred?
No, they didn't need to. Anything within 12 miles, they don't have to.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you weren't.
Well, you wouldn't know that being on railway, would you? No, to transfer an officer from his home station, they can transfer you within a 12-mile radius. Because they consider that as transport from your home. Do you follow me? Anywhere outside that, they have to pay for all your expenses, they have to find your bloody house, they have to pay for everything. No, anyway, so they didn't really worry about it. Well, I was upset. I'd only ever worked at Jordan, I knew everybody,
So it was comfortable, you somewhere you
but not for so long, because the lads at Halifax, they were just great, they were like me, they just got on with the job, they watched each other's back, and that type of...
But in terms of these kind of pressure that was being exerted, that's another little thing that, like, you come to...
the pressure stopped. the pressure that I was under at Todd completely changed at Halifax. Mr. Slocum, Inspector Slocum, what a gentleman. This is him with Tash job.
Yeah.
I've been down cells about a month, I think, something like that. Probably 4 or 2, you know.
Yeah.
And he come down and he says, are you sure you don't want to? I said, no, I'm loving it here. He says, and I told him, I said, you haven't read my file, sir. And he said, why was it? I said, I'm a prison officer. What you know? Now, he used to be a beat bobby in Huddersfield.
Yeah.
When he was a lad. And you know what he said to me after many, many months when he kept coming down, and he was a very nice guy. He says, you know something, I called him Alan. You know something, Alan? You remind me of me. He said, I was just like you when I was a young bobby. And he'd got 34 hearing then, so he knew what he was talking about. He was due for retirement. He was a lovely bloke, absolutely lovely. Now then, I don't know what the thing was, but I'd been off with stress.
Yeah.
You know, I thought, I could do with an holiday. Well, I could have got paid work and play, you know. I thought, oh, something had upset me, you know, and I just said to Mrs. Long, I won't be in tomorrow. I'm stressed out. Something had happened. It was, anyway, take your time. No worries. Well, what happened? Hang on, just losing my track here. Mrs. Logan. Yeah, I think we'll go straight to. No. I'll let you know. We're talking about Tobin Police Station.
Right.
So I'm working down Halifax. I've been down there quite a while, and I got a summons, not a summons, a minute sheet, reminding me that I was going to appear at Tobin Magistrates Court on a some bloody misdemeanor, some poor bastard I'd locked up as well, I can't remember. And I had to give evidence.
Yeah.
So like I told you before, I used to read my pocketbook into my dictaphone.
To remember.
To remember it.
Yep.
Yeah. So solicitors used to say, you've got a bloody good memory. You're only copper that never asked permission to go into his pocketbook.
To refer to your book.
Yeah. Anyway, that's another story. But so I went to the Tobin Court, and the bobbies in Todd never spoke to me. I was like a pariah. I was absolutely gobsmacked, mate. I mean, I didn't see Jack then, and I didn't see Malcolm. I think Malcolm and we're on different shifts, you see, or whatever. But I knew the bobbies I'd worked with the bobbies that were in the nick at the time, and I was like a pariah to them. Didn't want to, you know, this has changed. Anyway, you have to go in full uniform when you go into court, you know, so.
Yeah.
Now, normally they used to take you down in a car.
Yeah.
A flat cap job. Oh, no, I had to walk. Top hat on, and I knew I walked down to Top Magistrates Court, waiting for my case to come, give me evidence. I can't remember whether they were guilty or not guilty, it don't really matter, does it? And, oh, that for us got.
Yep.
And I went to Ben Burger and got myself a burger for a bit of snap. Excuse me. It's this Yorkshire area, it's fucking clear for me. Did I swear then? I didn't mean to, I'm sorry. It's this Yorkshire area it's a bit too clean for us Lancashire lads. That's what I meant. And we're in uniform, so I'm going back now. I'll have my snap. I'm going back because we're on 210. So off I goes, and I get to where I work.
Halifax.
Yeah. So hang on a minute.
Oh, you go back to Todney?
No, I'm on my way back to Halifax now. And I went and got myself downstairs, and I realised I left my helmet at Todney. Oh, shit. So I rings up from my office and spoke to PC Lindsay, and he said, yeah, it's here in front. That's what I'll pick it up when I finished. You know, calling, because I still lived in Tomlin. Anyway, we were a busy day with lots of prisoners up and down into court, got a big court at Halifax. Yep. Up and down, I completely forgot about me because I was never out on beat, you see, I was always working inside.
Yeah.
Well, this, whatever it is, I don't want him out where me how it ended up. But I went in, me and Jack called in at the Red House, Freemasons Arms, we just managed to get in before closing. Not that it didn't matter, we could have gone round back door. But we got in, Beth used two sisters they were. In fact, two of their lads were become policemen. They were Paul and Stoddard. I think he's retired now. Anyway, they were policemen, they weren't in top. And they're not friendly, you know. I've been going in there for years. And there were some top bobbies in, which they usually were. But they were like that side, that far down bar. Well, me and Jack just got in with. And first thing Beth says to me, "What's this about you being barred from Tom Nick?" I said, "Are you having a laugh? What? Take it, Michael." "No," she said, "no, they've just been talking about it." "Oh, have they? What did they say?" "They said you've been barred from Top Police Station." I said, "What are you talking about? I don't work there, why would I get barred?" "Because things have been going missing." "Ooh, now this, you know," Jack says to me, because he called me Gobber. "Yeah, when I broke with that, I ain't Gobber." I said, "Oh, bollocks." So me and him walks over to these other bobbies. "Right, who's going to tell us what's going on?" So they did, you know, under pressure. They told us that the 6-2 shift and the 2-10 shift and the night shift, as the 2-10 were going off and the night shift were coming on, they held a proper parade. So the 2 shifts on.
Yeah.
Right? This inspector and the sergeant, who I won't name, came out with a statement in front of them all. "As from this moment in time, PC Godfrey is hereby banned from entering this police station. If he does turn up, you task him to leave immediately. And if he refuses to do so, just call a senior officer and he'll be escorted off the premises." So the obvious question that the lads asked was, why? And because things have been, we're going to put a stop to this, things have been going missing. Now, in my book, I don't know about your book, we're all being accused of bloody theft.
Absolutely.
Right? As you well know, you've seen the papers.
I've seen the papers.
You've seen the legal papers, haven't you, that, from the barrister and everything that I had. There was no other way of putting it.
So they were basically telling people that you've been moved and you've been banned from the police station
for theft.
For theft.
They didn't use that word, but yeah, because that's
the
exactly what Betonette said. "Is this out to do with you being moved?" Well, you know. So as you rightly know, our onto Harry Harris, who was my solicitor as well as a good friend, telling him all about it. Right, he says, "I'll get statements for you." So of course the following night, the following day I went on duty in Halifax. I went straight to see boss, the divisional head, and he reckoned he knew nothing about it. And he said, "Do you want to make an official complaint?" I said, "Oh, damn right I do." He said, "Well, we'll investigate." I said, "Don't worry. It's going higher than you, pal. It's going to court. There's this defamation of character."
Yeah.
I said, "You don't bloody call another copper a bloody thief in front of all it, you know." Yeah. I said, "How can I be a bloody thief? I've been working down here, bloody." So I give him a bit of that. And by this time, I couldn't care a monkey's toss, you know. I just, bollocks to him, you know.
So this is...
I don't care what I say, you know. And I did. I said, "Well, I'll tell you what. I'm going home now, and I won't be coming back. I'll be seeing my doctor, and I'll probably be off for 3 or 4 months with stress." The doctor says, "Take your time," he says. "Don't worry. William," but I said, "You will be worried," I says, "because you are the head of this division. You should be knowing what's going on down that bloody valley." I said, "There's more bent bloody sergeants and inspectors down there. You know, by bent, I don't mean they were criminal, you know, I mean, found the twist."
Yeah.
Anyway, I told him that I was going to have it, which you've seen all the legal papers, haven't you?
Yeah.
Statements. Anyway.
Got time.
5 minutes?
See, I was thought
You've done a lot of talking.
65 minutes already.
We've got 5 minutes left. All right, well, we better cut out all of this other stuff out. Basically, the worst thing that he ever did, and it came as a shock. You remember the man from the ministry? Well, he'd been, I'd seen him, if you've got the book, you'll know I bumped into him on loads of occasions around the police environment. I was in my office in my cells, and the front desk man came in, and he used to come in for a crafty fag, because they were trying to stop smoking in them, but you could smoke down bloody cells. And, well, they weren't officially stopped, but they didn't like smoking anyway. He said, the guy's just been in, he wanted to know where all lockers were kept. I said, who were he? He said, well, he must have been a copper. He showed me his warrant card. Or what I thought was it. Now, we're talking about Fudd here.
Yeah.
The guy that did front desk, his nickname was Fudd. Useless. You got the idea. That's his nickname. God, he was. Anyway, I said, what did he look like? So he kind of described him to me. I thought, anyway, he went, and then Jimmy come down from Sergeant from control room, who I used to pick up. I mean, I used to give him a lift from, somebody called it Mithenroyd in here today. I don't know what it's called, Mithenroyd.
Yeah.
He lived in Mithenroyd, I lived in Todd, and I used to pick him up because we worked together on the same shift. He worked in control room and I worked down south. And I'd drop him off on the way home. That very night, as I were going in with him, he says, Alan, have you got your flat cap? He says, God knows where mine is. I had to go for me to have my driving thing renewed. Permit, driving permit. I said, yeah, I've got my flat cap, it's in my locker. So me and him went to my locker, opened it up, and I gave him my flat cap. You know, you want me to check it thing then?
Yeah.
And it was a bit too big for him, but he said, it'll do. So he'd seen me locker that night.
Yeah.
And locked it up. When I went back with him, when I'd heard about this guy, man from the ministry, we call him what you like, we went to my locker, and as I put the key in, the lock dropped. As I opened it, there's a bloody police helmet. And I says to Jim, that weren't there before, were it? Oh. So obviously I pulled it out. As I pulled it out, two packets of white powder fell on the floor.
Right.
Which put the shit through me, I can tell you.
I understand.
Bloody hell. The helmet weren't a problem, I just threw it down a long corridor on top of somebody else's bloody locker. I weren't born yesterday. But the 2 packets of white powder said to me, drugs. I mean, I've never been in drug squad. I don't think I've ever seen cocaine. I've had the odd weed when I worked.
You thought it was drugs?
I thought it was drugs, yeah. There were 2 small white packets. Jim said, oof, I don't want to know, because he was a bit of a career man, you know.
Yeah.
He was married to the daughter of a bloody chief superintendent or somebody, I don't know. And he wanted to get up to be an inspector. Anyway, I said, okay, Jim, just mention it in your pocketbook. And if I don't need you, I won't call you. You know me, I won't drop anybody in shit unless you want, you know. I said, if I get dropped in shit. Anyway, I got these 2 bags. They're only small.
Yeah.
An inch, maybe an inch or something like that. I took them downstairs with me and I pushed them down. You see, if they'd have found them, they could have been prisoners, couldn't they?
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? I had somebody else to blame. If I don't know, they could have had drug traps. I had no idea anyway. They went down bog. So it come time to go home. And I'm thinking, Jesus, it was on my mind then, you know, how I'm going. So I used to give Jim a lift home. I says to him, you know what's going to happen tonight when we come back on? He says, oh, and I go on to search your locker, won't they? I said, well, let's see what happens. So that same day, now we're going back on night duty, pulls up out, can't park the car, and goes in. And who's there? A uniformed sergeant and 2 plain clothes, for want of a better word.
Yep.
I don't call them detectives, they're just plain clothes.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Oh, Big C Godfrey, glad to meet, and I didn't know this sergeant. He weren't one of the regular sergeants. He says, want to check your locker? I said to Jim, I thought they would, didn't you? And off he went, Jim. And he like give me that nod. If you need me, I will. You know, he didn't want to, but he said I will. I said, all right, yeah, what are you looking at my locker for? He said, we believe you've got an helmet belonging to a Tomingham police officer there. I said, what the bloody hell would I want with a police officer, Tomingham police officer helmet? I said, well, mine that went missing in Tomingham, because nobody ever found it. Never mind. I said, come on, down long corridor. All lockers were down there.
Yeah.
Of course, I knew what were coming, you see. So I opened the locker and I thought, oh, bastard, I've been back and put out in while I've been in bed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I opens it up, and of course there's no bloody helmet there out. I said, well, there's no helmet there. And they looked a bit. And then he put his hand, inside my tunic pocket. I said, wait, what are you doing? You won't find a bloody police helmet in there. Get bloody out. You need a warrant to do that.
Yeah.
And off they went. I absolutely scared the living daylights out of me.
So, and I don't mean to cut you short, but because of time, but in essence, basically they planted
Yes, they did.
evidence that they would have found in your locker if you hadn't.
What did they do?
Yeah.
There's that helmet. And then they pulled it out and these
two packets.
It's an old life trick, isn't it?
And you would have been then
Oh, I'd have been arrested, yeah.
Yeah, you'd been arrested.
I'd have been arrested, subject to them being analysed.
Yeah.
Oh, anyway, it didn't happen. But I did report it.
Yeah.
I reported to Internal Affairs, what I'd seen. I gave them names and all sorts. They did absolutely naff all about it. But eventually, when I went to see the Chief Constable, who was happens to be the Deputy Chief Constable, which was Keith Halliwell, who became the drugs czar, he said these famous words. When I told him all about this, I told him about how Internal Affairs hadn't investigated. Well, anyway, he said, you know, PC Godfrey, I don't know why they didn't let sleeping dogs lie. And that's when I left the Nick, and I kept thinking, I wonder who that bloody hell were they? So hence the title of the book, Who or What Were They?
And on that, Alan Godfrey, for the last time, thank you very much.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Round of applause. Thank you. Now, can you see that there was some pretty underhand tactics there going on, and just by the build-up and some of his friends, they got him through it. But he was given a lot of hassle, and right until he retired on Hill Health in 1985, right up until the end, so for 5 years, more or less, well, 4.5 years continuous, he was getting hassle, and that is not comfortable. Yeah?
Well, I should know.
And you should know.
Can I just say something before I go?
Come on.
I'd like to thank everybody. No.
Okay. So, round of applause for Michael. Are you done, Mark?
Gary, you're going to straighten the screen, the thing on the screen.
What do you mean?
It needs putting in the middle.
Can you make that any bigger on your platform? Does it expand? That's the projector wants me.
It's the projector.
It's the projector, Larry. What? Oh, you mean a rotate? No, just bring the projector down a little bit. Good job, I know it. Good job, we've got to know these people over the years. I can call them by name. Oh, she can't write in the dark. Can't go down that road. Right, there we go. Oh, there you go. Mark, can you write a bit quicker, please? What's the presentation?
And that is Maureen now from Truth Seekers North East with Alan Godfrey. Is that alright, Dawn? Tino, as you know, Tino